girls, welcome to EBTV. Today we're starting a 4-part series on discovering God's purpose for your life. Now that's a question that I have battled with for years. Like, God, what did you create me for? What's my will? What's the purpose? What am I supposed to do with my life?
And those are big questions.
Yeah, they're huge questions. And part 1 is talking about gifts and talents. Cool. So what do you guys think some of your talents are?
Ooh, that's a hard question. Well, I really like art. I really like drawing, so I'd say that'd be one of them.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like writing. I like singing. I like talking. It counts.
You like smiling.
I like smiling.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would say writing. That's how I process, and it just comes really natural to me.
Yeah.
So
You are a good blogger. You have to check out Amy's blogs.
Absolutely. Well, those are all really great things and great ideas, and we're also going to talk about, though, that those aren't the only things. We all kind of mentioned things that the world talks about as talents, but we're going to look in the book of Romans later on in the teaching, and it talks about serving and encouraging others and being a leader, and those aren't really things we typically think of when we talk about gifts and talents. So
That sounds awesome.
excited.
Yeah, cool. Well, we're also going to hang out with 2 amazing ladies. One of them is Megan Johnson, and she just has a testimony that you're not going to want to miss.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we're also going to talk to Annie Downs.
she's awesome.
And guess what she's going to talk about?
What?
Mean Girls.
No!
And I think we've all encountered Mean Girls and maybe played the role of a Mean Girl.
Absolutely.
And she just has some
course.
awesome stuff to kind of talk about it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And I got to hang out with Les and Joe from a painting party, and they were so much fun. I mean, you want to watch this just because they are hysterical. I laughed the whole time. And I cannot paint worth anything, but they had me paint Henry, which was really
And you
cool.
stayed in the lines.
And I
Saw
stayed
it.
in the lines.
Yay.
You know, I
You
didn't.
did awesome.
It was fun. It was a test, though, but I succeeded.
You did.
All right, well, stay tuned for that and so much more coming up.
This is for all the girls, boys all over the world. Whatever you've been told, you're worth more than gold. So hold your head up high.
Hey, what's up? I'm Rachel, and I'm hanging out with an amazing girl. Her name is Megan Johnson, and she has a story I know you're not going to want to miss. Megan, welcome to EBTV.
Thanks for having me.
We're so happy to have you here today.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, and you have such a beautiful testimony. And it really all began when you were very young. I think, as you've said, you kind of grew up in an unstable family. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I kind of really remember not having stability at home. I remember coming home without lights and without water and without food and not really having new clothes or anything like that. And my parents fought all the time, so that's all I really heard. And just kind of remember just my mom getting me to choose sides between her and my dad and getting me to always want to be with her and not him. And so my relationship with my dad has never really been very successful, I guess. So
Right.
we kind of bicker and argue, and we don't really have a relationship.
Yeah, and growing up without the stability of your parents is really tough because when we're young, we look to them for foundation for our lives. And so you kind of grew up without having anything to hold on to and kind of tell you, hey, you're beautiful, hey, you're worthwhile. And, so you grew up like that, and your parents fought a lot. And then you also had a family member that kind of stepped in the picture and also abused you, right?
Yeah, I was like 7 or 8 when that happened, and it went on for about 4 or 5 years. And I never told anybody about it, and I just kind of forgot about it, and I really just kind of blocked it out of my mind, and I didn't really want anything to do with it.
And I can understand because that is something that's really hard to deal with. And now looking back, Megan, would you advise girls who are watching right now who might be in the same situation as you were to tell someone?
Oh yes, it affects you, and you don't think that it is going to affect you, but it really does in the long run. And that's the reason why I did the things that I did for so many years, because I was just numbing and trying to forget about it. And
what happened as you went into middle school and high school?
I started to self-harm, to deal with a lot of things at home and just things that were going on in my head, and also developed a eating disorder, and I refused to eat, and I just didn't really feel valuable or didn't really feel beautiful, and so I just did that. And then at like 14, I started to experiment with drugs and alcohol and sleeping around with guys, and just wanted to fit in and feel secure, and I
Right.
felt like drugs and alcohol did make me secure.
Right, because you were grasping for whatever you could hold on to. And you know, when you took a hit and you were high, or when you maybe cut yourself, probably for that moment you felt okay. You couldn't feel the pain. But did the pain come back afterwards?
Yeah, it's just a bandage. It just, you do it and then you have to do it again to make it all go back away, because it just comes right back.
So later on in high school, did you start a relationship with a guy?
Yeah, at 16 I had found someone that thought that had loved me, and he showed me the attention and the desire that I always wanted growing up, especially from my dad. And right when I turned 17, my parents signed for me and him to get married. So I was kind of excited just because I didn't want to be with my parents anymore. I didn't really feel loved or valued by them. So, but then again, I just kind of felt like they really didn't want me, and I was abandoned and rejected by them.
So once again, you were looking for something or someone to hold on to, and that marriage failed. I assume.
Yes.
And when it did, I imagine you were at rock bottom. And then what happened?
I actually found this program called Mercy Ministries, and it was hard getting in. Like, it was just kind of like a process, and I really didn't want to do it, but I knew that I had to do it to survive. And as soon as I walked in there, it was the most craziest thing ever.
And I love when you start talking about that, you light up. For a girl who hit rock bottom and you went through pretty much the most unimaginable, terrible things, you're so joyful and you're so beautiful. And I thank you for being on the show with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
You guys, don't change the channel. We still have plenty of cool stuff coming up.
Hi, everything beautiful. I have a question. A lot of my friends have been struggling with self-harm recently, and it is making me really upset that my friends want to hurt themselves just because they don't feel good enough or they don't feel loved. And I really want to encourage them. Can y'all help me?
Abby Jo, that's a great question, and one that we all, I think at times will struggle with. I know for me, when I was personally struggling with the eating disorder, it wasn't self-harm, but it was still, equally as, very harmful. I had the friends that, told me what to do, and they were very concerned, and they came about it from a loving direction, but for me, I knew I needed help, and I knew what I needed to do.
Right.
And for them, I just wanted them to be a friend, and I couldn't express like the pain I felt. So it meant more to me for them to just love me where I was at, and if I ever needed to talk, I knew that I could trust them and go to them. And so for me, it's definitely just loving them through it, and they're gonna, and just praying with them and praying for them and encouraging them. So.
I love that.
Yeah, inviting them to your youth group, to your church. I know personally, we kind of experienced the same thing when it comes to that in self-harm and eating disorders. And for me, when I was in it, it was like I was crying out for an escape. And I know we kind of talked about this. In my personal struggle, I was crying out for attention. I know not everybody, you kind of had a different story when it came to that. You didn't want the attention.
Yeah, I didn't want
But
the
I think
attention.
that girls experience it as their own personal struggle, so it's just kind of different. So I was crying out for attention from people, and some people might not have a good home life. They're just looking for a way out and looking for an escape, and there's personally like so many deep and emotional wounds that I think girls specifically just carry along with them, that self-harm or an eating disorder or anything is just a way of an escape, and it's a cry out for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And from a friend perspective, I would say that the first and foremost thing to do is to show them that they matter. And the way that you show someone that they matter is you spend time with them.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do. It's completely free. And when you spend time with them, I mean, you could talk on the phone, you could go get coffee, you could just hang out and watch movies, but let them know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
They're not alone without friends, and they're not alone without God.
And not judging you. You don't want somebody pinpointing everything.
No.
You know, well, you need to do this, you need to do that.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't fix somebody. You've got to, like you said, just be with them through it.
And one more thing, I think that would be great is, how did you guys get past your eating disorders?
Go ahead, Amy.
Oh man, it was a long process. I'm convinced prayer from my mom, from people who did not give up on me, and I had to get to the lowest place I possibly could, and it was God that got me through it. And it wasn't wasn't a fast formula to get you through it. It was a process.
It is a process.
You know. And so, what about you?
I didn't have support or help. I wanted to go to a program, but I didn't want to tell people. So I feel like because I kept it so quiet and kept it inside, even though I wanted the attention for it, I didn't share it with anybody. That the process just was so much longer because I was trying to do it by myself. Not even with God's help, because at that point I wasn't a strong believer. I wasn't involved in a church. I didn't have the foundation, that we have now. So it just really prolonged my process because I was trying to do it by myself. So I know through the eating disorder, I started going to a church, getting involved in a youth group, leading worship, and I just, God lovingly convicts us.
Yeah.
It's not like you're doing this, you're not supposed to do it. It's like, hey, this isn't my best. This isn't what I have for you. Your body's a temple for me. And I started to begin to learn the word and learn those things and really reading the Bible and knowing what it says and what it means. Not just spending 5 minutes reading the Bible because it's what we're supposed to do.
So it was a process as well.
Absolutely.
And that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your question. And if you would like us to answer your question, just shoot us an email.
Hey girls, it's Amy, and I'm with Les and Joe from a painting party. And today they're going to teach me how to paint Henry. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
You're
thank
very
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, so we've downloaded Henry from your website, and we've just traced him on a 9x12 canvas. And for this, all we need is acrylic paint, an assortment of brushes, and a canvas, and you can just find that at your local craft store. So we're going to start by painting our background, and that's everything outside of our image. So we're gonna just pick up our big brush, go into our background color, and it's easiest if you outline sections of your image at a time.
Okay. Just around the bird.
Yeah, just go around Henry.
Perfect. And you can teach you don't have to be a master artist to do this, right?
Not at all. You don't need any talent. We bring it to you. We make it very easy, and anybody can do it.
Sometimes you'll have to do 1 or 2 coats just to cover your brush strokes and then cover the white of the canvas.
Okay. And then once you have the background complete, then will you go on to the bird or, okay.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The background will have to be completely dry, and then we move on to the image in the middle. And there's really no wrong or right way or wrong or right brush stroke, as long as you keep it consistent.
I have a trouble coloring in the line with that.
You're doing a very good job.
All right,
Yeah, no
perfect.
worries.
So then,
All right, so just for the sake of time, we do have our background completely dried, and that's a really important step before we move on to our bird. So like a simple hair dryer will speed that process up along as well.
okay.
So just a tip. Now we're going to begin painting Henry, and we are going to start with his belly and the little section of wings. And again, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to outline, paint it in, and then move on to our next section.
To your lighter coat.
Okay. Did y'all pick out these colors?
We did.
Like that.
We did. We actually took a poll on our Facebook site to see what colors people like to see and we're interested in right now.
And you go to people, right?
Yes, we do. We come to anyone's venue. We paint whatever they want to paint, and so it's their party at their house. We bring everything we need, tables, smocks, drop cloths, all the painting supplies.
Hey.
It's a lot of fun, especially at birthday parties.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. And you supply people if they don't have a theme that they want to go with. You can do anything pretty much.
We have a gallery site that they can look and see what we've already done, or they can send us an idea or theme and we can mock something up special for their party.
All right, perfect. Well, stick around with us and we will be finishing Henry when we come back with Lesson Joe.
Hey girls, it's Ashley. We're actually hanging out here in my apartment. As you can tell, we're not on set at EBTV, but I thought it'd be really fun to come and hang out in my very own apartment. We can relax, talk about some really fun stuff. I know you're gonna be so excited when you hear what we're talking about. Today we're gonna talk about part 1 of our new series, Discovering God's Purpose for Your Life. I don't know about you, but that's a big question that I have asked God a million times. God, what is my purpose? What am I here for? What did you create me for? What am I called to do? Have y'all ever asked yourselves that? Well, today, part 1 is going to be on gifts and talents. What is it that makes you so happy? What are those things in your life that when you're doing them, you're so excited that you know God must have gifted me? He must have, because I'm so passionate about this. It's such a fulfilling feeling when I'm doing this. Well, I'll share mine with you. I love singing. I love songwriting. I love blogging. I love serving other people. Talking about serving other people, it might not be your normal or typical thing you think of when you talk about gifts and talents. I mean, if you think about what the world labels as a gift and talent, it's singing, acting, modeling. In the ministry, it might be preaching, the worship leader, the youth pastor. But you know what? That's not what God says are the only gifts and talents. We're going to look here in Romans 12 in just a minute. God points out some awesome things that are gifts and talents that he's given each of us. So get your Bibles, look with me here at Romans 12, verses 3 through 11. I'm going to read to you out of the New Living Translation. It says here, "In his grace, God has given us certain gifts for doing certain things well. So if God has given you the ability to prophesy, speak out with as much faith as God has given you. If your gift is serving others, serve them well. If you're a teacher, teach well. If your gift is encouraging others, be encouraging. If it is giving, give generously. If God has given you leadership abilities, take responsibility seriously. And if you have a gift for showing kindness to others, do it gladly." Let me ask you again, what are your gifts and talents? What are those things? Now looking through the eyes of Romans 12, what are those things that make you so excited and so happy? I want to challenge you girls this week to dig a little deeper into this scripture. Romans 12 verses 3-11. We'll have it up on the screen and on our website at everythingbeautifultv.com. You can look at it there. But I want you to dig into this and listen to your life. As you go through this week, don't just go through the week. Go through it purposeful, knowing that each day God has a plan for you. God has a purpose for you. Each day, see what those things are that just fulfill you and that just bring so much joy to you. We're going to come back next week and go a little further into this series with part 2. And we're going to need to, from here on out, to know, what are these things that God's really gifted me with, so we can move on to the next 3 steps on how to discover our purpose in the Lord.
Hey girls, I'm Rachel, and I'm totally hanging out with an author who is flawed and funny. Her name is Annie Downs. Annie, welcome to EBTV.
Hi, thanks Rachel. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, we're so excited to have you today.
Thanks.
And so you kind of travel around and you talk to girls and you write blogs and you write books and you have a new book out and it's called Speak Love.
Yeah, that's right. It just came out this month and it's really exciting. It's a great job. I love my job. It's like the best job ever that I get to hang out with teenagers and talk to girls about who they are, how God made them, and how they should be using and can be using their lives for Him. It's just like super fun. It's the best job.
It sounds awesome. And Speak Love is really about overcoming the mean girl mentality and using our words to build each other up rather than tear each other down, right?
Yeah, that's right. And you know, you and I know this, and the girls know this, that we all know a mean girl. And we all know someone who, even as adults, we still know girls who are like, you were the mean girl. and I can still see it in
I
you.
can still remember their first and their last name and almost the
Oh,
exact sentences that they said to me that hurt me.
Right, that's exactly right. And so I really don't think we need to put up with that anymore. I think it's time to get rid of that. And, you know, the truth about me is that I was picked on a little bit, but I also, because I'm really loud, and I have a really loud personality.
You're not loud.
I'm loud. And I kind of err on the side of the mean girl.
Oh, okay.
And so I think everyone can kind of float one way or the other. I don't think anyone is every day, all day the mean girl, and I don't think anyone is every day, all day the victim.
Right.
I think that we can float in between. And I have memories of being unkind to people as much as I have memories of being treated unkindly. And so the opportunity to write this book was two-sided. It was an opportunity to teach girls how are you using your words toward others, towards yourself, towards God, but also kind of a redemption thing for me to go, look who I used to. Someone from middle school is going to pick up the book and go, Annie Downs thinks she can write a book about using your words well. And there's a whole chapter that's just called An Apology. Because I know.
That's amazing.
I know I've been there. I've been the one that's been unkind. I've been the one that's hurt people as much as I've been the one who's hurt. And I remember what mean girls said to me, and somewhere, it's heartbreaking, but somewhere there are people who go, yeah, I remember what Annie said to me too.
Right.
And that is like.
And I can totally relate to that because I also played the role of the mean girl sometimes. But to be honest with you, I was kind of dorky in middle school and high school. And like I said, I can remember the girl's first and last name, the exact sentences they said to me. And you know, what I find interesting about that is that I really took to heart what they said about me. I thought it was the truth. And the thing was, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
So how important is our own self-talk?
Yeah, that's a really great point. You know, I think my first book is called Perfectly Unique, and I talk about the idea that our minds aren't these like locked boxes and you have to believe everything that's in them. Our minds are more like a superhighway, and you can pick the cars that you want to believe and let the others keep driving.
Yeah.
And I think that is what happens with what other people say to us. And you know, the other interesting thing, Rachel, is that we will so quickly latch on to what someone says to us that's unkind. But if someone says, man, that dress is really pretty.
No, this whole thing.
Yeah, or man, you played great in your soccer match this week. Or you just go, okay, da-da-da-da. When the Bible says that words are life and death.
Amen.
And one is not stronger than the other. And so we need to start holding as tightly to the kind things people say about us as we do. Honestly, I'd say we let go of the lies that people say about us. Because if what someone says about you isn't what the Bible says about you, then you don't have to believe it.
Absolutely.
And that self-talk, the more you start filtering things through, wait, that guy said that I was really ugly, but that's not what God says.
No.
So I don't have to believe that. And he can think that, or she can think that, or she can say I'm a dork, but God says he made me on purpose. And so, and that is really easy for us to say, but when you're a 9th grader and someone is picking on you and high school feels miserable, it is much tougher to do.
It is.
But it's still possible, and it's still the truth. And the more you pour truth in, the easier it gets.
Right. And before we go, because we're almost out of time, do you have any advice for these girls who might be being picked on right now?
Yeah, I would say first, you need to tell someone. We don't just sit in it. You don't just let it keep happening, whether it's a youth leader or a coach or your parents. Someone needs to know that you're suffering. But also don't let how someone is treating you determine how you treat other people. That's what I would say, is that if you can be the bigger girl, and if you can be the one who goes, I am still going to be kind to these 3 girls, even though that girl is mean to me, then you're the one changing the world.
Yeah, and I definitely believe it's possible for us to change the world with our words.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think so too. I am like, yes, Rachel, that is my heart, is that I am after us changing this culture.
Yes,
by getting rid of the mean girl mentality and teaching girls how to use their words well.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for hanging
thanks
with
for
us.
having me.
It's
It was
been
really
awesome.
fun.
If you want to find out more about Annie Downs, check out our website. We'll have lots of cool links about her.
Hey girls, it's Amy with Les and Joe, and we finished painting Henry, so what is the next step?
All right, we did finish painting Henry, and he's completely dry. We love to add multimedia to our projects when we can. So we're gonna make a door hanger today with Henry. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna just flip our canvas over and we're gonna be working from the back. The first thing you need is just a strip of ribbon, just whatever kind of ribbon you want, about the length of your canvas. And if it does have graphics on it, you just wanna turn it upside down. You're gonna place it about 1 inch from each side and kind of form a triangle shape. And we're just gonna use a simple hot glue gun and hot glue that down.
Easy enough.
Easy, easy.
Not a lot, probably.
Definitely doesn't take a lot. It just takes a couple seconds. And then we're gonna flip him back over. And the fun part of Henry is our big googly eye. So we each have a googly eye and we're just gonna hot glue him down as well.
Oh, awesome. Have you all done a bird before?
We have several birds. We have lots of owls lately. Seem to be very popular.
Owls are very in.
So now we have a cool door hanger for a bedroom door or a locker, anything like that.
That is awesome, and you can, we'll show you the finished
Yay.
product. You want to show yours also? That's awesome, though. This is a great thing to do for friends, for mothers and daughters, just for any events. And that's cool that you go to people, and it's a great way to, you know, have interaction and everything.
We love it. We love it. We love the people we've met and being part of people's great parties and their birthdays and stuff.
What has been your favorite one that you've
Oh
done?
goodness, that would be really hard to say.
Yeah. We go to a lot of the elementary schools, so that's a lot of fun, being able to just hang out with 600 kids in one day, so that's pretty cool.
And again, you don't need to know how to paint at all.
Not at all.
You just,
Not at all.
You just
We
need,
make it very easy.
just need an easy, just drawing if you want to start with that and do everything else.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Les and Joe, for being here. I'm so glad to have a Henry now, personal one. And for more information on Les and Joe and a painting party, you can visit our website at Everything Beautiful TV.
Hey friends, thanks so much for hanging out with us today. We have had such a good time.
Yeah, we have.
So much fun.
Yeah, we talked to some amazing people. Megan Johnson, if you saw that interview, I think you probably shed a tear or two.
Absolutely.
Because it was so heartfelt and she was so genuine. And to see the joy on her face that she has after the worst things you can possibly imagine happened to her, that's only through God.
Oh, of course.
And
yeah.
that blew me away. And then Annie Downs, her advice on what to do if you are being attacked by mean girls. I mean, I'm going to hold on to that for next time. I think that was great.
It was great. And she's so funny. She has such a fun way of talking about a challenging subject.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I know with the painting party, you know, I hope this encouraged you to go out and paint, coming from somebody who is not an artist with a paintbrush at all.
But your painting was so good.
The bird turned out pretty good. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So now you know how to paint your own EBTV Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys can actually go to the website. There's a Where's Henry page, and you can print out Henry so you can trace it and then go ahead and follow along the steps in the painting party. So we have that all on the website.
Yeah, and if you do that, we would love to see your pictures, so please shoot us an email.
Absolutely. I hope you guys kind of figured out what some of your gifts and talents were. You know, maybe we can go on to the next step, which is going to be next week, and I'm really excited to start talking about that. So we hope you guys got a ton out of the show. We had so much fun, and we loved hanging out with you. We hope to talk to you again soon. Bye.
You're one in a million.